Hello everyone, welcome to this series of sketching and drawing practice with Mr. Daniel. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can practice 3D oblique forms. So first, we're going to start off with basic oblique cubes. I'm going to show you how to draw that, a basic one, and then we'll move on to drawing oblique blocks varieties. I'll give you a little bit more detail when we get there. And then we will move on to oblique geometric forms, how, if you can remember the 2D shapes and forms, the different shapes, the geometric shapes, we're going to transform them into forms. And finally, we will do, this one is number 3, and then finally we will do some oblique drawing blocks to have a little bit of fun. Okay, so first of all, what is an oblique drawing? I'll start with a basic oblique cube. Now to do oblique drawing, as long as you can draw any 2D shapes, if you can draw a 2D shape or 2D cube, a 2D square block like this, you can draw an oblique drawing. So basically, an oblique drawing is a combination of a 2D face and then with the third dimension added. So in this case, imagine if you were to look at this object from the right. So if you want to look at this 3D object from the right, look at it from the right, then you will pick the 3 edges that you can see from the right hand side, and you project the lines to the horizontal at 45 degrees. So these are 45 degrees lines to the horizontal. So if you use a compass and you measure, this angle here is at 45 degrees. Now when you draw 3D objects with the third dimension at 45 degrees to the horizontal, this is an oblique drawing. An oblique drawing has an angle of 45 degrees at the third angle. Now to finish off this cube, all you need to do is to draw parallel lines at the back. The vertical lines at the back, the vertical part of the back is parallel to the front, and the horizontal line in the front is the same direction as the horizontal line at the back. These two lines are also parallel. Once you get the parallel lines right, your cube in oblique drawing will look decent. Now very often when the student draw an oblique drawing or a 3D object, let's say in this case, most students will be able to manage very well the parallel lines at 45 degrees. But when it comes to the back, most of them will have problems and you end up with things like that. You get a very funny, weird looking object because you see this line here and this line, they are not parallel. So all you need to note is to be aware that pair of lines must be parallel, and once you become aware of that and you will be able to correct them when you get them wrong, you will always have nice looking, decent oblique drawings or any 3D drawings that you'll be drawing in the future. Okay, so these are some of the concepts. So once you're done with the first one, draw a 2D square and then project your third dimensions at 45 degrees. And then once you're done, give a nice outline on the outside and you have your first 3D oblique drawing cube. Okay, so here is the basic concept of oblique drawing. We just started off with a cube. Now we will make many varieties of the block. Now the purpose of this is so that you can add a little bit more practice, get used to the idea of drawing 45 degrees lines to the horizontal, and you know by now, as long as you can draw any 2D face, you can draw an oblique drawing by simply projecting the lines. So what I mean by varieties, you can draw tall blocks or long blocks, and you can draw, the opposite of tall and long will be short. You can draw tall blocks and long blocks. You can draw short blocks. You can draw fat blocks, you can draw thin blocks. Draw many combinations of these. And then before you draw, always pick a perspective. Do you want to look at the block from the right, or do you want to look at the block from the left? So this is also how you can determine which are the 3 points or the points that you need to pick to project your lines towards. If you view the block from the right, you project the lines to the right. If you view the block from the left, then you project the lines to the left. Okay? It's just so simple. So let's begin with drawing a variety of oblique blocks. Some tall ones, some short ones. I'll draw some 2D shapes. We'll begin with blocks first, okay? Just some basic blocks. Then I rotate. This will be a tall one. That will be a short one. This will be a tall one. And then let's draw a fat one. This one looks a little bit more like a square but slightly taller, so I call it a fat one. And then maybe a skinny one. You can draw a variety of them. I'm just going to start with 4. Okay, so, and I'm going to pick a view, and this time I'm going to view from the left. So if I want to pick a view from the left, I put my eye here. The lines to be projected at 45 degrees will be to the left at 45 degrees. So if this is the horizontal, the ground, then I'll be picking, because these are blocks, there will be 3 points which I need to project to the left. So this is the 1, 2, and 3. And for the tall block is 1, 2, and 3. For the fat block is 1, 2, and 3. And the skinny one is 1, 2, and 3. We will project it at 45 degrees. And then once you project these lines at 45 degrees, you can do one at a time. I'm just doing all at once, so it doesn't really matter. So you can do one at a time. At this moment, I'm doing all at one time. And then now the question is, how far does this line go? It's up to you. You're the designer, you're the one sketching it. You can choose to have a very thin oblique drawing, or you can have a very long oblique drawing. You can have a fat oblique drawing. You can have a very skinny oblique drawing. It's up to you. We draw a variety of them. Let's start with a very skinny one. Maybe you have a very skinny, flat looking TV screen. So, and remember, parallel lines in the front, the vertical part, and you copy the same parallel lines at the back. Parallel lines on the horizontal, at the front, and at the back. All you need to do is to pick a distance. Look, this is the distance. How thick do you want the object to be? So once I'm done, give it a nice outline. And by the way, if you haven't watched Drawing Fundamentals, the fundamentals on how you hold a pencil, how you draw lines, go and visit the video. Because without a good foundation and understanding of how you draw lines, it is really not much of a point to learn slightly more advanced drawings like 3D drawings if you do not get your techniques right. Okay, so go back and look at those videos. It's in the same playlist. Now for this one, I'm going to make it slightly fatter. I'm going to project the lines to the left at 45 degrees, and I'm going to stop here, slightly fatter than the first one. So how do I manage the back? Look, you simply bring the lines for a walk. Look, this one is a vertical line, and this vertical line at the back will start here at the bottom, just like how you started here. From the bottom up, vertical line, parallel. See? Parallel. Once you reach the top, where does the line go? The lines go to the right. Can you see? Once in the front, once you reach the top, the next part of the line, you go to the right. So go to the top vertically, and then now to the right horizontally. This way, vertical line, it's a horizontal line, the back and the front, once again, parallel. And I'm done with this longer block. and then a nice outline. There you go. Then I have another block. Then what about this? So as you draw and you practice, you decide the thickness that you want. You draw a variety of them. I only have 4. You can draw more. So all you need to do is to mix and match all these different variations, tall, long ones, short ones, fat and thin one, rotate them everywhere. You see, this is an example of rotation. So this is the horizontal kind of rectangle, and then you rotate it 90 degrees, you have a tall rectangle, almost the same size, varying a little bit on the proportions. That's all you need to do. And then this is how you can create many practice examples for yourself. The more you practice, the more you get used to drawing parallel lines, and the sooner you will be able to pick up mistakes that you make along the way, and then to correct them along the way. How about this chocolate block? Now the back parallel, the front parallel. So there are altogether 3 sets of parallel lines. If you also notice, the horizontal one, the back parallel to the 2D shapes in the front, 1, 2, 3 sets, and then the 45 degrees, 1, 2, 3 sets, and then vertical lines, 1, 2, 3. So they will all together be 3 sets of parallel lines in an oblique 3D form, especially in oblique 3D basic block form. Okay, but once you start to draw geometric shapes, there will be more lines. So here we have oblique blocks in different varieties: tall, short, fat and thin. Do your own practice. You can draw more than this. For this example, I'm just going to show you 4, because I'm going to move on to the third one. Once you're happy with drawing oblique blocks variations, and it is important for you to draw many of them before you proceed on to drawing geometric forms. Okay, what are geometric forms? Geometric, as you can remember from the previous video, geometric shapes. Geometric shapes are basically shapes which you can give a name to, a generic name, a standard name. So how do we draw shapes? Can you still remember? We draw blocks of various sizes. Every shape will come from a block. Always have this good habit of starting with a block, regardless of whether it's going to be a rectangle, a triangle, a circle, an oval, an octagon, a long octagon, etc. Whatever it is, always keep in mind to start with a block. So I have blocks of various size, similar to oblique blocks variations. All I'm doing now is I'm just drawing very basic 2D shapes, and then now I'm going to start transforming them into different geometric shapes. Shapes first, then you have forms. So we have shapes first in the front, then when you introduce the third dimension, it will become a form. And in this case, because it's oblique, these angles shall be at 45 degrees. This is a basic principle of an oblique drawing. Okay, so what shall we make this out into? Maybe I'll start with this. I want to make this into a triangle. So I'll pick an apex, the top, and we join the bottom left to the top this way, and the top to the far right, and we have a triangle shape. This one is not an equilateral. You can draw an equilateral one if you want. And then for this one, I'll draw a rectangle with a right angle on the left. So I'll start at the top, and it's always good to have a point for you to join the 2 lines, because this is how you draw slopes in a 3D drawing and to get them accurate. So here I have a triangle, a tall one, and this one maybe I'll make a diamond shape. Okay, the top shall be here. Okay, maybe I make a house shape. Okay, I want to end the slope in the midway to the left, and I want to end the slope midway to the right. I have an equilateral triangle at the top and then a block at the bottom. Oops, this is no longer geometric form. What do you call this? This is an organic form. So if you look at this house looking thing, the top part is a geometric shape. It's a triangle. The bottom part is a geometric shape. It is a rectangle on an oblong. But when you put them together and you combine them, you have an organic shape. At the moment it's an organic shape, we're going to transform it into an organic form. So the shape on its own, which you can call a triangle or a rectangle or a block or circle, they are geometric. And then once you combine the shapes together, it becomes an organic form. So maybe I should call number 3 as oblique, geometric, or organic forms. We'll start with the basic geometric one first, then later on we'll do the organic form last. Now what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to keep it as a maybe another, okay, maybe I'll make it an oval. We'll pick the middle here, we'll pick the middle there, and now I will sketch in an oval on the left, and I'll sketch in an oval on the right. This way. Okay, so what about this? Maybe let's make an octagon. To make an octagon, easy. You draw a tic-tac-toe type of guidelines in the middle, in equal parts. Split the horizontal into 3 equal parts. Split the vertical into split the vertical into 3 equal parts. Split the horizontals into 3 equal parts. Do your own estimation, and then you will connect the points for the 4 ends to get your slope accurately. Many students draw shapes like that with a single line, and they keep wondering how come I can never get a shape right. It is because, as I said, always start with a basic block, put your guidelines in, and then this is how you can mark out where the start and the end of the slope should be, and you can get a more decent drawing outcome. Okay, let's transform that into oblique forms. So where shall we look at from? Let's keep to the left. Let's look at this octagon from the left. Let's look at it from the left. So what can we see from the left? Which side? This side, 1, 2, 3, 4. This side of the 3D form we cannot see because the eyes is here, you cannot see the back. So these are the lines which we will be using to project to the left at 45 degrees. So this one, 45 degrees. Sorry, this is horizontal. So this is 45 degrees. 45 degrees. Remember, parallel lines. 45 degrees, parallel lines. 45 degrees, parallel lines. And then next is, how thick do I want this to be? You can choose any thickness that you want. I'll stop here. This length is the thickness. And then for the rest of the lines at the back, follow. Look, vertically up at this point. The next line I need to follow is, look at the front here, it's going in this direction. The line at the back will go to the same direction. Parallel, I draw the line, stop. What is the next line? The next line is a horizontal line. The next line is a horizontal line going this way, and for the back I'll follow the horizontal line for going that way too. So parallel lines, parallel lines, parallel lines, darken them. So I have an octagon oblique drawing. Is this an octagon? Yeah, I think so. Sorry if I get this wrong. I think it's an octagon. Okay. So yeah, and then what about the triangle? You do the same thing. I will be able to see these 2 points. not very much for this point. I think this one is almost at the 45 degrees. So here's the horizontal, project it at 45 degrees, project it at 45 degrees, and I'll make a skinny one. This direction and that direction. You see, these were all wrong, and I was able to identify it, and then I drew an additional line to correct it. So this direction and this direction seems to be right. So it is important, remember, in the drawing practice to draw lightly. It is always important to draw your guidelines lightly, and just in case you got them wrong, the whole drawing will not look messy. And the reason is also because it is so easy to spot the octagon 3D shape, because you can see a contrast between the dark outlines and the very light guidelines. So I've finished this 3D triangle. Now I'm going to add in the thicker outlines. I'm going to shade one on the side, a little bit more fanciful to make it a little bit more 3D like. It's an illusion. Okay, so how about this? Let's project this from the right. Why so? Because I have the slope on the right, and if I project it to the left, I will not be able to see the full effect of the slope. So in this case, because the slope is on the right hand side, I want to see the face of the slope. So I'm going to look at it from the right this time. I'm going to put my eye here and look at it from the right. So it will make sense for me to project this line from the horizontal at 45 degrees to the right. This one to the right. And then where do I end? It's really up to you. For the random exercise, it doesn't really matter. So maybe I'll make the same length as the base. This is the length of the base. That will be the length of the third dimension. I'm going to stop here. And then how do I draw the slope? You follow the same orientation as the first one. Look, this one goes this way. This one goes the same way. Same way, not meeting here, but same way as in parallel. So if you don't get the parallel lines right, you don't get a nice looking oblique drawing. As simple as that. So there you go. So and then shape. So here's a triangle looking at from the right. How about an oval? An oval, it is good if you can draw an oblique block, a long flat oblique block, and then what you need to do is to make it easier for you to do, you will draw the same oval shape at the back. You draw one in the front and the other one at the back. In a little while you know why I do that. Okay, draw the same shape, one in the front, one in the back. Now if these two shapes are too close to each other, you have difficulty because those lines will be overlapping, and it can be a little bit challenging to spot where those lines are. It's going to be a little bit messy. So lucky for me, I drew them pretty far apart. Now what you need to do is to join them at the edge. So this oval, the furthest edge which I can use to draw a 45 degrees line, you look closer to the object, and then I'm going to touch the edge. Now where this line touches the edge, this will be the edge of the oval. And then for the lines on the right hand side, I'm going to draw horizontal line closer and closer. The moment it touches the edge, this will be the edge of the 3D drawing of the oval. And then do the outline. And then the base. So, and if you want to make the shape and the form more prominent, what you can do is you can add contour lines along. This will give you an illusion that this is a 3D shape. And then contour lines to illustrate the length. When you're at the slope, the lines will be closer to each other. When the curve is more gradual, you increase the spacing of the line. You can see the top is far away, and then as I approach the slope and the curve, and the lines get closer and closer to each other, and this is how you can create an illusion of a 3D shape, sorry, a 3D form. And then I'm going to shade the front. Okay, there you go. This is a 3D oblique oval. Not a very nice looking one, but anyway. Okay, now the house, the 3D organic form. I'm going to look at it since this is closer to this one. I'm going to look at it from the right again. So I'm going to project the top and the two surfaces on the right hand side at 45 degrees. 45 degrees 1, 2, 45 degrees 3, and I'm going to make a long house. So vertical lines, stop here, up, parallel. And then what about the roof? The roof will follow the same direction as the front, to the left, here and here, parallel lines, and voila, complete. Outline and house, a 3D organic oblique house. Okay, so once you get used to this, have your own practice, draw your own different geometric and organic forms, and then project them at 45 degrees to the left, to the right, as many as you can. Do your practice to get familiar with this. And finally, number 4, we will graduate to oblique drawing blocks, oblique building blocks, and it's simple to do. This is where we can build buildings, structures, and have a little bit of fun after this practice. And it may be a good application, because in real life you don't see objects like this on its own. You see different objects put together to make a different form, an organic form. So let's start with a basic block, and then we'll add the blocks to the left, to the right, to the top and the bottom along the way. So here is let's begin with a long one. Let's draw a wireframe. Okay, this is the oblique building block form, building block. So we're going to build one at the top. Let's draw the base of another block here, and we'll project the line up to build another block on top of the square flat one. Let's make it this tall. I'll make it this tall, and then remember parallel lines, bottom and the top, parallel lines, bottom and the top, and then the back, parallel lines, and then the back and the front, parallel lines. So you see, now I have a building block from the bottom and the top, and maybe I want to make a building block, another block extending to the right. So I will draw another 2D guide here. Here's a square, and then we're going to project this square to the right. Project the square to the right. I have a block. Let's make it this long, from here to here, and then I'll finish off by completing the other end of the edge. And at this moment I'm still drawing lightly because I don't know which is overlapping what. And then let's draw another one on the left, projecting to the left from the base. So here is the edge of the block that I want to project, and then draw it to the left, project it to the left, project it to the left, and I'm going to make a pretty short one. 45 degrees, vertical lines parallel, 45 degrees parallel. So I have a block going to the left. Why not I make another block here in the front, projecting it to the left. From the front, projecting to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, projecting to the left, downwards at 45 degrees. And let's make it a long one. And this distance shall be from here, stop here. Parallel lines, front and back. On the front part, parallel lines here and here, parallel, and then the horizontal line stops here and then proceed downwards. Parallel lines and then horizontal at the base. So here I have a block extending from the main block. Maybe I just draw another one at the top to end it off. Let's make a rooftop. So here, projecting another one up, I'll make a triangle one. But let's start with a block. Once you have blocks established, you can do anything you want. Now once you have blocks established, you can now draw some geometric shapes and convert them into geometric forms, and then you have a variety of geometric forms and organic forms, and we combine everything together, you have an ultimate organic oblique structure. Okay, let's make this a triangle. We join this line to the bottom and then this line to the bottom. Here we have a triangular slope top, and then let's make this another triangle slope from this point to that point, from this point to that point, triangular slope. And let's make this a small triangular slope in the front. We'll put the guideline this way, draw a wireframe. I'm going to start the slope here and maybe end the slope midpoint here. So from here to the midpoint of the front, from here to the midpoint of the front. So it's like a car, right? A car. And I'm going to leave the rest alone. So let's complete the whole structure, organic structure. So we have the front, you can do as detailed as you want, but for this exercise I'm not going to make it too complicated. I'm just going to keep it as this way. Now I'm just finishing off my structure. So by keeping them light, you know which is front, which is back, and this is front, so I'm going to start with this one, and then whatever is at the back, I will not draw a thick line to go over, because I need to differentiate what is front and what is back. And you see, this is the outline here. I will not draw an outline cutting the block in the front. So this way. Yep. This way. Here is the start of the slope. Oh, this part is wrong, right? It's supposed to be a slope. Okay, let's leave it that way. And since I made a mistake here, maybe what I'll do is, I do not want to do any erase. So maybe I will draw at another block here. And I will put a triangle here. Okay, that way, fine. And once you're done, you choose a side, one of the side for you to do your shading, so you can differentiate the different sides. So here we have a 3D organic oblique form. There you go. What do you call that? I don't know. Playground? Up to you. Okay, so I shade here this way. Maybe I give the front a lighter, darker shade, a different type of shade for the front. I'll leave the top blank, no shape. You notice how I hold the pencil for a fill that it looks like that, a fill type of shape, F-I-L-L, low, so I can cover more grounds. And if I want to draw lines, I pick the pencil up and then I draw this way. Alright, so here we have oblique building blocks, which you have just learned how you can combine various geometric oblique shapes and make them into organic forms. So I hope you like this video presenting to you the 3D oblique forms. There you go, and hope you like it. Bye bye.